Sounds good. So I'm Cherie Stokes. I'm the partner liaison with Montgomery Tech Lab, and I want to welcome you to today's webinar featuring Trouble One. And we'll be talking about the Defense Accelerator that we've launched in Montgomery that's kicking off pretty soon. I want to get started with just a couple of items to give you an overview of the program. And then we'll go ahead and kick into a couple of questions that we have. But do know we welcome you to put any of your questions in the chat, or you're welcome to actually just come off of mute and ask questions that you may have about the program itself. So first of all, this is our third cohort of an accelerator program in Montgomery. We've done two cohorts previously, one that was focused on digital services and another that was also focused on quality of life. Those programs, one was completely virtual, one was hybrid, and now we're really excited about being able to offer an in-person program this year for the third cohort. This will be focused on mobile application development, on cybersecurity, and on artificial intelligence. And we're really looking for startup entrepreneurs that are working in those technologies and have dual use products and or services. We are partnered with Trouble One on this endeavor. Trouble One has a long history of working with entrepreneurs and helping them to advance their solutions within the Department of Defense. They've helped several to win not just contracts, but CYBR and SCTR awards and other federal agency contract awards and EPAs to continue doing their work. So specific to this accelerator program, we will open up applications on the 18th of February, and you have almost 60 days to actually complete that application. You will go through an interview process, and we will only select 5 companies that will participate in the cohort. We will kick off that cohort in June, early June. I think it's Thursday, the 5th of June, and we will run that cohort throughout the entire summer, ending with a demo day during the Department of the Air Force's Information Technology Conference the last week in August. So it gives you the opportunity to actually demo for quite a number of individuals that are looking for technology in those areas. So now I'm going to go ahead and introduce Steve Odo. Steve is with Trouble One, is currently running the accelerator program that they have in Huntsville, and has done a tremendous amount of work in the Department of Defense industry. Steve, tell us a little bit more about yourself.
So in full disclosure, I just exited a small business last year, and Trouble One provided a lot of services to me to get through that process in the defense space. So from ground zero, and you'll hear some of that in the discussion today. I'll relate that experience, that I've been in your shoes before. Starting from nothing to getting DoD work. So I'm glad to be here, and an old Army guy as well. So you'll have to excuse the loss of hair and the wrinkles, but been around for a little bit.
Well, definitely happy to partner with you all. So let's kick it off first with that, really expertise and experience. Since you said that you've been able to experience that firsthand and working with Trouble One on being successful and obtaining government work, how did it actually help guide you through that process? What does that look like for an entrepreneur?
Yeah, so I'll advertise a little bit for Trouble One here, and I can say that in good conscience because I was a customer at one point. They have the expertise, the relationships, and the presence, particularly within the Air Force, to help small businesses. You have two bookends that most people kind of assume when they talk about working with the DoD. Either you're scared to death of it, or you think it's like free money. And the truth, obviously, is somewhere in between, right? And how to go about the process is really the value that you would get from the accelerator or from Trouble One, is knowing the right people to call, the right places to start as you investigate the area that you're working in, and who might or might not be interested.
Okay, so even with that, what about best practices? I think a number of people have said they've applied for non-dilutive funding, be it a CYBR, SCTR, or other contracts. They just haven't been successful. Any best practices that you would say that Trouble One actually helps companies with, and some of that information that you really see within the Accelerator program?
Yeah, it's the best practice are, I would say, I would lead off, and it seems like it's an off tangent discussion, but uh, understanding what problem you're solving for the customer. When you know that, it basically, you can refer to that as market fit. Who would care about what you're offering is the key. Because once you have that, the SIBR routes and other funding streams open up. Even though the contact you might have that cares about the actual physical work that you would be doing may not have the money or the contract vehicle, once you have that, it enables you to go out and get the funding and the contract to do that. And as I relate it to my experience previous, the SIBR program, I just can't say enough great things about. It's not, you know, blindly submitting to a SIBR post may not provide you success, but there's a lot of great things about the SIBR program that help startups and people with great ideas get going. And I'm a very big fan of the the program, and it's a great opportunity. You just have to understand how to navigate through it, and that's what the Accelerator and Trouble One can help you with.
Good deal. I know people have certainly had difficulty navigating through that program, and learning more about that, and having some of those helpful hints is definitely advantageous to someone. But I think some people also have a lot of misconceptions about what it's like to break into the defense sector. Any of those that you can kind of dispel that maybe Trouble One will help you with, and or help startups to get a better understanding for, and realizing, yeah, it's not like that.
Yeah, I would go back to the two bookends I mentioned earlier about it's way too hard because it's not. If I can do it, I can guarantee you can do it. Um, and then the other is it's just they have big unlimited funding and they can do anything they want. You just got to present your idea, and just because it's a great idea, you'll get funding. And that can, the accelerator can help you with that. It's about finding that fit and the right person that you're going to help solve a problem, or right entity, should say, instead of person, uh, is one of the key things. And that's what you'll get about is from the program is how to narrow in and find out who that person is, as well as how to engage with them once you find that out, and how to tell your story about how you can help them.
So let's talk a little bit more about that aspect. When we look at the ability to break into that sector and what Trouble One actually provides during this accelerator program, give a little bit more detail into kind of the database, the playbook that's provided that really helps startups to navigate and understand the lingo. I think some have a great product and or solution, but they just don't know who to go to sometimes within DoD, specifically even within the Air Force. How does Trouble One help with that?
So not only in the what you'll get presented to you in the accelerator, but they also will provide you with a product at the end. It's called Insights, that help you understand the Air Force customer, how they're structured, what budget priorities are, and as at the end you'll receive tailored to your specific product space. Uh, uh, the most likely avenues and right people to call to get to. So that's one. And then in parallel to that is how to tell your story, how to take advantage when you do get the meetings with those key folks, how to tell your story and with the most impact.
Okay. So knowing that, which I think is vitally helpful for a startup, where someone's actually helping them to identify who those customers are, what the organizations are as well. any kind of surprises that come into play where, I mean, we talked about some of the misconceptions and dispelling those, but any surprises that you've seen where some startups are just like, yeah, I had no idea it was going to be like that?
Well, I'll tell you, I'll use my own experience, right? That I was a former Army person and actually worked a little bit after I first retired from the military in acquisition as well. So I knew the community and I knew the route. The vision you have when you start out with a company and a project and an idea may change as you go, but it's a journey. And every interaction you have uh, is powerful. It takes you, you're more informed after every interaction that you have than you were before. That takes you and helps you adjust your course to get where you want to go. And also, provide that service or product to the customer as well.
Yes, so being flexible and agile, I think, is something that we've all realized. We just have to be in the startup and entrepreneurial world. But as we look in the ability and more so, what makes the right candidate, as in, why should someone apply to this program? Um, what would you say to that? Not only why should they apply, and kind of what gives somebody the edge? It's usually a competitive process, and I think everybody wants to win. However, what's the best candidate and what's the best type of startup for this particular accelerator?
So I'd say the best candidate is one that has a great idea, and then the other that it's a little softer skill is a perseverance of if you have the vision, if you can see it before someone else can see it, the application of your idea, you'll find somebody that latches onto it. So that's real important. Being able to, obviously, there is some time commitment to doing this. You've got to be able to commit to the time and put in the effort. Back to one of your early questions about misconceptions is, I've met folks that think the DoD is an empty basket of a big basket of money that just doles things out. Well, it takes effort on your part, but there's rewards if you put the effort in.
Oh, totally agree. Now, knowing that and that it's not an endless pit of money from a DoD side and technology, how do you see that evolving? And do startups really fit into that niche market, or is it just too saturated right now?
Yeah, so I think it's a unique place in time. If you look at what's happening from a political standpoint, what's happening from a threat environment, uh, the Defense Department needs now more than ever innovation. Uh, a lot fewer big companies that have it's like a weightlifter, right? As you get big and muscly, you become less agile. And the problem spaces, you can look at Ukraine, you can look at other things in the world. Technology is evolving so rapidly that you have to be very agile and on the move. And small businesses provide that in spades. So it may not seem it like when you start out, but over the last several years, the DoD has gotten programs like the accelerators that are out there, uh, the CIBR, AFWorks, the rapid innovation. They are trying to make a venue, and there's real progress being made to where small startups can go do business with the DoD. And I think this is just another example of that, and appreciate like Clarissa, your efforts in getting the accelerator there going.
Good deal. Any questions from anyone that's on the line? I have maybe one or two more to cover. Certainly want to open it up. Okay, I'll hit my next couple then.
Okay.
Now, before working with the accelerator, would you say that you had a particular challenge that you were trying to at least overcome, that you were able to overcome?
Yeah, it's similar to, we've talked about this already in the conversation. If you just step back and look at the all of DoD and the different offices and agencies, there's probably not one agency with a label that has what you do on it. And even if there is, that may not be the person that needs, they're just the governing agency, right? Finding who needs your technology or your solution is probably the most daunting thing out there. But there's venues and approaches to going out and talking to soldiers. You may talk to someone that doesn't need that it's like the Thomas Edison example, right? 10,000 things that didn't work helped you get to the one thing that worked. And BD and in this process is very much like that.
Well, it makes me think of that failing forward, right? So
Exactly.
understanding that you are going to have some failures in the process, but learning from them and being able to fail forward certainly helps a number of our entrepreneurs to excel and to succeed in this space. Another area that I kind of want to touch on before we either open it up for any additional questions or wrap up, because if no one has any, we're not just going to sit here and talk to death, but definitely want to make sure that we provide enough information about the program. We did speak about the fact that this program will be in person, and so we'll have program days located in downtown Montgomery. A lot of what we also want to do is ensure that our local community stakeholders have an opportunity to not only get familiar with the companies that are in the program, but understand some of the products, services, and solutions that they have the opportunity to provide. Can you speak a little bit to that, Steve, on how Trouble One helps to expose companies to local communities and potential stakeholders in the work that they're doing?
Yeah, absolutely. So I'll speak particularly to the Accelerator. There's going to be social events as well as community events where you get exposure. I'll take the one we're doing now. The chamber here posted videos, pitch videos, basically, of the companies going through. So you get a lot of exposure just being in the program, both online and in person opportunities to get your word out there.
That's great. So given the timeline that we have for this, with the program kicking off in June, just prior to that, we'll actually have the Montgomery Information Technology Summit in Montgomery. That brings in about 1,000 individuals across the Air Force that are speaking to technology. I think I saw the draft theme come across, and it is on AI and Gen AI, and being able to develop better software this year. And then we'll also have the Air Force IT conference that happens at the end of August. So there's certainly some opportunities for interaction with not just local customers, but certainly those that are throughout the entire DoD and the government space as a whole. Any other tidbits for those to know that really speak to what the program itself is like, kind of those day-to-day program days?
We do have another question that just came in through the chat, Clarissa.
Right.
It's how can someone get involved as a volunteer for the in-person event locally? I think, Clarissa, I don't know, maybe you could answer that one better.
Absolutely. They can reach out to me. So I'm Sharice at MontgomeryTechLive.com and would love to have volunteers. And I think there are info and contact info on our website.
Awesome.
Well, for me, I guess I do want to give a couple of closing comments, unless there's anything else.
Hey, Clarissa, we do have Tony joined us, and he's participating in the Accelerator here in Huntsville. I don't know if you had a couple of questions for him, maybe.
Absolutely. Tony, tell us why you chose to participate.
Thank you. Hey, it's really great to be on here. And I love being able to represent a cohort that's going through Defense Tech right now. Trouble One's doing a fantastic job. Why we chose to participate is because we are all aware that the military and the government plays a giant role in the economy of Alabama. And we, as Alabamians, have a strong presence and influence in those organizations. And so, as a tech startup company, we're very attracted to the commercial markets that are out there, and we're pursuing those. But it is really also very important that we take advantage of the real opportunity to learn more about the government organizations and how they operate, and identify ways that we can take our technology and apply it to help the warfighter in their mission and help us succeed tactically, and help our country succeed on a global competitive basis. There are a large number of threats to the country, and we feel like it's really important that we contribute what we can, where we can, if possible. The challenge is that, as Steve has well explained, and people should generally understand, the government is gigantic, the organizations are very complex, and what Trouble One's done a fantastic job of is an exceptional job of distilling the information, in this case about the Air Force, down to the most digestible form, giving us the sort of the scaffolding to understand the organization, to understand the mission and roles of the various groups, to understand the distinctions between the people on the front line, the end users, the people with the money who can actually buy solutions, but then you've got the acquisition community, which is actually the conduit to get to it, and how this web of organizations and stakeholders work together. And then where we're going is they're providing keen guidance to us, specific guidance, helping us navigate how we can take our technology where it might most apply, and then begin approaching the people and organizations where we could potentially have an impact and who might have an interest. So it's really laser beaming us into the quickest access to begin a long process of building relationships and hopefully being able to accomplish our mission, benefit the country and the defense community, and I think our tax dollars should only partly be coming back to us too. So we're excited about that.
Good deal. So I've got to ask, how was the lift on being able to apply for the program? I think a lot of companies often get a little scared about whether or not they want to apply because they feel like they don't have time. The application process is going to be too much. Walk us through a little bit of that. How bad was it for you?
Not bad at all. I mean, just being an entrepreneur requires stamina and character and endless challenges. So applying for the program was not challenging. Fortunately, we're in a position where we're good candidates for this program, because if you're in the stage of development where you just have a good idea, you're probably not ripe enough yet to be able to take full advantage of the accelerator. Actually, we're one of the, as far along as we are, we're one of the junior companies, I would suggest, in terms of that maturity level to be able to really get in and take advantage of it. So it's exciting for us, but the challenge of actually applying was well worth it. And even if one doesn't get selected the first time that you would apply, just the contacts that you'll meet along the way and the networking is well worth it. So
Good to hear. Good to hear. Now, since you're still in the program and you guys kind of have just started not too long ago, can you say that it's even changed the way you're looking at your business and how
Oh,
you're evolving?
yes, absolutely. The discipline that uh, that Trouble One and the Defense Tech program is instilling in us is really very valuable. The uh, having to be accountable for learning these different organizations and the different functions and the different processes, and then the motivation that they're providing is influencing our commercial business that we're already building. Also, the I've had a career in enterprise sales in commercial markets, and the sales into the government market are not significantly different than they would be for a global enterprise type of sale, very large organization. But the reminders of being really mindful of how we're prioritizing our time, because as a startup, we have very little money. We can't go flying around the country to visit lots of different people. So we have to be very selective and laser beam in how we prioritize and execute. So it's definitely constantly influencing me day in, day out with all of the commercial side of our business as well.
Tony, thanks so much for that. Any words of wisdom that you would have for a company that's thinking about applying to the program?
I think if we're in Alabama, you have a product or service that you feel could truly be beneficial, then you should absolutely go for it and at least apply. Hopefully, you'll be selected, and then the what you learn and the networking and people that you meet is going to be extremely valuable. And additionally, going through an accelerator like this adds credibility to our company when we're going out, not only to the government community, of course, but to the commercial community and to potential investors. They look at a company that has the wherewithal to even take on something like this differently than if we were not to have done that. So I say go for it. Boldly go is our motto.
Awesome. Thank you. Really appreciate your comments, Tony, and appreciate you joining us today.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much.
Steve, any closing comments on your end?
No, I'll just kind of echo a thing that Tony had there. I mean, and I've had the discussion actually with some of the participants today. One of the key things as an entrepreneur is just decide to go do it and do it. Once there's a lot of challenges in between, but if you do that, you'll be successful.
So true. So as we wrap up, I just want to remind everyone of a couple of dates that we have that are coming up. February 18th is when applications open. We will have another webinar actually on March 6th, and that will actually give a little bit more information for those that may not have had an opportunity to attend some of the other ones that we'll have. We will also have an in-person event, Montgomery Tech Lab that speaks to cybersecurity on February 20th in Montgomery at Crest. And then also applications will close in April. So a lot of dates that are coming up, a lot of information that's out there. If there are any questions, feel free to reach out to us, and you can contact us via the website. All of our information is there. Certainly here to answer any questions that you may have. And we will also post the informational session for you to share, and if anybody wants to share the information that we presented today. I want to thank everyone for joining. Look forward to working with you in the future, and for you staying connected with us on Montgomery Tech Lab. Again, thank you, Steve, and thank you, Tony.
Thanks, guys.